To work with shadows in PhotoFusion, you simply click on the frame, which will open up the toolbox, and then move your mouse over the different parts of the map, including the image, the border, and the shadow, to find the shadow, where you can simply press the left mouse button down and drag. If you drag left and right, you'll adjust the offset of the shadow, and if you keep holding the mouse button down and drag up and down, you'll see that you're adjusting the sharpness of the shadow all the way from really sharp down to very blurry. If you want to turn the shadow on and off, you can simply hold the Control key down and click here, which will toggle the shadow on and off. And if you notice that you've got two frames and you want to adjust the shadow on both, I did that by pressing Control D to duplicate the frame. You can select both, and then any changes that you make will be applied to both at the same time. You can do that with any pair of frames, of course. Now once you've got a shadow kind of right, but you need to get a little bit more detail than just the distance and offset, you can click on the shadow here to bring up the shadow editor. And this allows you to do things like adjust the angle of the shadow. What I'm doing is moving my mouse over the angle control, pressing the left mouse button and dragging, and that will allow me to pick an angle or an amount all the way from 0 up to 255. You also have access to a color picker. You just click on the chip and this will allow you to pick a color as you see. I'm just going to leave it as black. If you get a shadow that you like, you can click here and say save it as a preset, which I'll call, for the sake of argument, demo. The next time you click on this, you'll see demo down here as an available preset. You can also say set as default. If you do that, then the next time you create a frame, you'll have exactly the same shadow created by default. If you have multiple frames up, and I'll just create another one here by pressing the F key and dragging a frame out, and I'll change the shadow to be distinctive, very sharp, let's say. If you want to apply the same shadow to every frame, then you would click to bring the editor up for the shadow, and then click the equals button. And you'll see that that has applied the sharp shadow that I created on the other unselected frame. If I had multiple pages in this album, I would hold the Control key down and click equals, and that would apply the same shadow across all pages. Finally, if you have a particular look that you want to achieve for a shadow, and it may not be a straight rectangular shadow like this, PhotoFusion allows you to create any custom frame that you like. Here I'm going to load up a shadow image that we've created. It's just a large black frame over a transparent background with a curve across the base. What we're going to do is, having made this in Photoshop, we're going to go into PhotoFusion and load it up as a shadow for this frame. So I'll go to the Organize tab where this image is sitting on the desktop. I'll select it and I'll say that instead of being a photograph, this is actually under Parts, I'm going to set it to Shadow. The reason I did that is so that when I drag it and drop it onto the existing frame, PhotoFusion knows to apply it as a shadow instead of simply creating a new frame for it. So if I sharpen it up, you'll see that the shadow that we've created is correctly being applied, and that's actually an interesting look. It seems to curve the photograph just with a simple curved baseline like that. So that's how you create a custom shadow and use it within PhotoFusion.